Let's talk about results day. I think that results day is an indictment of the failure of our education system, our political system, and the failure of our political elites. You see that the value that's attached to what happens on results day, the results that you get, it's the numbers you get, it's the grade you get, the values placed upon that, an arbitrary figure, arbitrary numbers. They have meaning behind them, of course. They have your hard work. They have years of effort, grit, and turmoil behind them. But what are they valuing? They are valuing what you managed to put down on a piece of paper on one day. They don't value what other stuff you did in those 5 years. They don't value the contributions you made to your community. They don't value the contributions you made to your school. They don't value the things you got involved in or engaged in. They don't value the skills that you developed, the ways that you improved yourselves, the mistakes that you made and learned from. That's not what they value. They value arbitrary numbers and what you put on a piece of paper on those auspicious and fateful days. And that, I think, is the failure. The failure is that we've assigned value to the wrong things. We've assigned value to performance and outcomes instead of providing value through development and personal improvement, personal reflection. Because it's not really about the grade, it's not about where we end up, it's about the journey that goes along towards that grade, towards where we end up. But we boil it all down to a set of numbers. And that's what this ideology of financialization, this pernicious mentality of neoliberalism does. It boils everything down to commodification. It makes everything numerical. It makes everything based on money. Even when education reform is framed, it's still framed around this idea of money and earnings. How much can we allow our young people to earn? How can we get them into a job? How can we make sure that they're not on benefits and in the welfare system? Why do we have such a narrow focus? Why do we boil down our young people to such a narrow band of strengths? Because young people are so much more than that. They're not just the numbers on that grade sheet. They're not just the amount of money they make in their lives. They're not just the job that they end up going into. They are not just the university that they end up at. They are not just the amount of welfare that they claim. That is not what this is. That is not how we should be valuing our young people. And that's not how we should be viewing and designing our system. It is a complete failure of our political class. The fact that every year hundreds and thousands of young people have to endure this disgusting spectacle where they are financialized, they are commodified, they are boiled down to numbers and arbitrary grades on a spreadsheet. They are not valued for who they are and what they have done and who they have become. They are dehumanized, and it is inhumane, the system that we have created. Anyone that thinks that such a state of affairs is acceptable needs to have a hard rethink. Because what is the purpose of education? That's the fundamental question at the heart of everything here, right? If we're framing our entire education system around the purpose of getting people money, getting the government money, giving the exchequer a boost, why are we doing that? Giving companies workers for them to exploit. Why are we framing it around that? We are not valuing the people at the heart of the system. It's not about the system itself, it's about the people. We're losing sight of what really matters, and that is the very young people that the education system is supposed to help are being the most disadvantaged by it. So what is education really about? It's about building young people that can go into our society in the future and make a positive contribution, leave behind a positive legacy, whilst also making themselves secure. But they shouldn't need to feel like they need education as a springboard to financial security, because our society should be designed around providing everyone with financial security, providing power, wealth, and opportunity to all instead of a few. This would not be a problem, but it is, because we have designed our society in such a way. Education is not for this. It's not for commodification. It's not for financialization. It's not for financial gain. What do we need to put at the heart of our education? What principle should we design our education system around? Moral ambition. That is what we should design our education system around. Because currently, it's devoid of morality, it's devoid of purpose. We've stripped away purpose from our education system and instead embroiled our young people in the brutality and the tyranny of numbers. We cannot allow this to continue. if we want our young people to have a future that they can enjoy and that they can love, a life that they can love, a meaningful life, not just a provision for those at the top to feel satisfied by, because that is not what young people are. They're not pawns in the game of power. They deserve a stake in society. And that's why we need an education system that's built for all, not just for a few. Because I might have got good results. So many other people who are academic might have got good results. But what does that mean for everyone else? And what does that mean for us too? What value does this give me? Just because our society values these grades doesn't mean that I should value these grades or that any of us should value these grades, because what it really means is that we have been dehumanized and that we have become pawns in their game. That is what has happened. We have played the game, and whilst we may feel like we are winners, there's only one winner in this game, and that is those at the very top of society. Those are the winners from the game that we are being forced to play, the hamster wheel that we are being pushed to run upon. It is brutal, and that is not something that I can accept. We have to change the system. And how can we change it? And what should we change it to? We need a system that puts its people at its heart, the young people at its heart, and moral ambition at its heart. That means teaching real skills so that our young people have what they need for their lives, not what the government needs from them. Because it's not about the government, it's not about what employers and the rest of society needs from young people. It's about what they need themselves to make their way in life. The second thing that we need to do is make sure that we have provided purpose to every young person, so that every young person leaves school with purpose and with a direction that they want to go to, a change that they want to make in the world, not just feeling like they want to make their personal progression their God, their idol, and their priority. This is what individualism has created. This is what neoliberalism and this society and this mentality has created, where young people and the people who are supposed to be leading the vision of a brighter future, they don't want to lead a vision of a brighter future. They instead want to lead towards a vision where they are making their personal enrichment a reality. I don't think that getting rich is a bad thing. Of course not. I don't think that getting financial security is a bad thing. Of course not. Everyone wants that. And rightly so, in a society where we are increasingly being stripped of our financial security and our dignity because the middle classes and the lower classes are being eroded of their social and economic position. But we shouldn't allow our education system to be framed around this. We should change our society outside of education while changing education from the inside to make sure that we have young people that are focused on making a contribution to their communities, making a positive legacy in their communities, because it is not just the responsibility of those who feel like it is their responsibility. It is the responsibility of everyone. As I've said, we do need to reclaim a politics of utopia, where we are actually thinking about how we can build the best possible future, how we can build a society that is almost a perfect society. Because if we imagine something perfect, just like how if you go for grades that are perfect, you can build something truly amazing. Of course, there are lessons that everyone can learn from grades, from exams, from these processes. And of course, you do learn some good skills. But our education system should not be financialized, and it should not be boiled down to material gain. We have to put moral ambition and young people at the center of our system, instead of capitalist encroachment upon our liberty, our freedoms, and our values. That is the truth about results day. And that is the truth about where our education system should go next and how it has been corrupted by pernicious ideology.